Well, welcome to the Clan Live Fan TV. My name is Callie York. Hope you're keeping well. I've got three special guests tonight. Got Lewis Malky Puck there.
How's it going?
Craig.
How you doing?
And Jen with us tonight. How are you doing, Jen? All right?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great. Well, thanks, guys, for giving me your time tonight. This is a pre-season edition. We'll talk about a number of areas that have been brought up also by some of the people who have sent some questions in to us. We're going to open up just looking back at the Clan roster for this season. Here we have the Clan roster for 22-23. So goaltending Zach Driscoll, Ty Taylor, and Ewan Simpson. D-men Mitch Jones, Gregory Todt, Colton Waltz, Liam Stenton, Sean Brutan, Kevin Massey, and forwards of Nolan Laporte, Matthew Waugh, Stephen McParland, John Dunbar, Stephen Dixon, Gary Hayden, Brad Kennedy, Gabriel Chabot, Craig Peacock, Jordan Cowney, Jordan Boessa, and Harry Ferguson. So over to yourself first, Jen. What's your thoughts on the Clan roster this season? Who are you looking forward to seeing playing?
Stephen Dixon, without a doubt. I think when all of us saw that we'd signed him, we were like, really? Yeah, he's just one of these players who always puts up the points, and yeah, just really excited to see him in purple. Also really glad that we kept Roy. I'm still never going to get used to saying it properly. I think we were all excited that he was coming back. Bear in mind, he was meant to have retired 3 or 4 seasons ago now, but there's obviously some draw that's kind of keeping him back, and he just was absolutely phenomenal last year. It's just hoping he finds the same partnership that he obviously had last year. If he hopefully is gonna, I mean, he always puts up points. It's just finding the guy who's going to help him to put up. So really excited about what that top line might be.
Yeah, definitely. Stephen Dixon, Lewis. Am I being too bold here? But could Stephen Dixon be the new Matt Keefe? I think he has a big influence on the ice. Or is that am I getting a bit too excited here?
It's not completely out of the question. Obviously, Matt Keefe is always going to have sort of legend status just for his leadership on and off the ice. I mean, if that can be replicated, then I'd like to see it attempted, but it's big shoes to fill. I think he will have a similar influence on the ice. I think he'll be our top assist stat anyway. Another player I'm looking forward to seeing is Stephen McParland. I think he'll be the top goal scorer for us as well, possibly high in the league as well.
And you Scott Pitt?
Aye, possibly, aye.
So I'm getting too excited here, Craig, with all these players. You look through the roster and you forget guys you've signed, guys like John Dunbar as well. I mean, what's your thoughts? Are you starting to get excited for this season?
Definitely. To be honest, if you're looking at the roster, there's nobody that I'm really not happy with signed, because we've got the goal scoring opportunities there, definitely. We've got goal scorers in the D-men as well. Just looking at like Mitch Jones and Todt, I reckon those two could be a partnership to be reckoned with. Yeah. Obviously, we don't know the lineup yet, but I think we should definitely try that as a lineup because I think they'd be good for defence and getting the goals in as well. Definitely happy with the team and quite excited to see how it ends up.
Yeah, I mean, there was a question that came in. This is a question that came in from Boogie V. Diepond. He said, last season, Cameron said we were a defence-first team. We just couldn't defend. In the off-season, one thing he has said very often is the depth of scoring has been added. Do you think Malky Puck is now an offence-first system?
I hope so, because it's definitely more entertaining to watch. So obviously, that comes second to getting results. So it's just however we can get results. If he's had a look at the league and realised he needs to go offence first, then I'm all for it. Definitely coming into the league last season, it was sort of more defence focused, said it's not going to be a team that scores a lot of goals. But when you look at the players he's added this season, it does seem as if that's going to be the strategy going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, another thing, Jen, was the brick core. He made it very clear he wanted to upgrade on that brick core. Do you think he's achieved that in terms of his recruitment?
I think he has. Obviously, the most sensible option is making sure Stenton is playing for us first and foremost, getting him full time than on loan from Solway. I think that's been a very idea. I think it's great that we've managed to get Cowney back because he actually had a really good season last year. And I know that there was a couple of times when we'd played them last year, because Guildford are our bogey team. They've always been our bogey team, regardless of what season it is. And like he's putting up big minutes, and he's on he's on power plays, he's on penalty kills. Do you know what I mean, what was he last year? 21 assists out of 29 points. So he was helping scoring those goals. So hopefully he'll do that from us as well. And I'm pretty sure his girlfriend is a friend of my supervisor in work. So I kind of knew that he was coming back up. So I had to keep that quiet. So I knew that was happening before it was kind of announced. So yeah, I kind of knew that was announced before it was coming back up. And obviously Peacock is back with us as well. I don't really recall seeing too much of Peacock last year, but let's face it, Fife were a bit anonymous, and I don't think any of us really were worried about Fife last year. And then obviously we talk about the losses from the Brit Corps, which is obviously one that a sad goodbye we've all had to make by way of Haywood. But unfortunately, there needs to be a cut. If you're bringing in these younger players, obviously the coach has made the decision that Haywood's the one that wasn't to come back.
Question for you, Craig, here from Glasgow Hockey Man. Thoughts on who's going to be announced as captain this year?
I don't know. It's a tough one. Part of me fancies Wah for it, but at the same time, I don't know if he's going to be taking on the same player-coach role. I also reckon Dixon's in with a good shot of getting captaincy as well. But to be honest, if you're looking at the players we've got, it could be Andy's captaincy, in all honesty.
Yeah, what do you think, Lewis? Captaincy? Or too early to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised there's not been any sort of talk about it from the club so far. Maybe they're looking to wait until pre-season's out the way or something like that. I think it is going to be between Dixon or Wah. The alternates is where it gets interesting. Who's going to take up those roles? It could be Colton Waltz, Sean Boutan, Craig Peacock. It could be a lot of people. It just depends who Malcolm Cameron decides fits into that role.
And what about yourself, Jen? Any thoughts on captaincies?
I don't see past Dixon.
Okay, no, good comment. Question to you, Craig. This has came in from Graham, G-Virus21. Do you think our team is going to be more technical and direct, as we don't seem to have the biggest of teams in this league? Does size matter?
It depends on what type of game you want to play. This lineup for me looks more offense heavy, so it looks to me like we're going to be going more for the goals, and like obviously with the goals will come the wins. I don't think there's anyone in the lineup that will shy away from a fight. You know, if it comes to it, I reckon there's more than enough in there to drop the gloves and look out for one another. But I don't think that's what the focus of the team is. And honest, I don't think that's what the focus of the team should be. I mean, yeah, we all love seeing a good fight, but at the end of the day, we want to win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, question, Lewis, from Glasgow Hockey Man again. Who do we think will be the main man to drop the gloves as Dyson hasn't returned? You get any thoughts on that?
Probably the main player to drop the gloves I can see being Brad Kennedy. I think that we've brought him in to be that sort of big body on the third line. Yeah. But realistically, we've got a lot of players on the team that can when needed. Even Stephen McParland back in the ECHL dropped the gloves with the aforementioned Dyson Stevenson, put up a great fight. So we've got the ability there that when it's needed, it can. I mean, we've got players that can throw the gloves down and throw some punches.
Yeah, is that something that concerns you, Jen, in terms of there's not an enforcer or that kind of guy recognised?
Enforcers are all kind of being kind of wheedled out. We've still not got rid of the instigator rule, so it's just as long as there's somebody there that knows they're going to get a sore face. And let's face it, like back in the day, Jordan County was never he was always handy at wanting to drop the gloves anyway, so it's just one of these things you just never know. I've not actually looked too much at the other teams and who's got people who would stir things up, but at the end of the day, if you're not scoring goals, it doesn't matter how many guys you've got who want to drop the gloves. You need to have the people scoring the goals, and that's what's most important.
Definitely. You're going to move on to the player introduction event and jersey launch. I attended last weekend, and I believe Lewis and Craig, you were there as well. I thought it was a great event. I mean, it was great to see the players skating out and a great attendance of over 1,000 people there. Just get your thoughts, Craig. What did you think of the event?
Well, I definitely think it was much better than previous player introductions have been, where they've been like in the middle of Braehead Shopping Centre, a lot more fan involvement, really. And it was quite good to see them doing this skate out as well. It felt almost as if you're there to watch the game when they're doing the build up with Kevin coming out. So yeah, that just got me absolutely buzzing. Can't wait for the weekend.
Yeah, what about yourself, Lewis? There was the merchandise stall seemed busy. The bar was busy. I don't know if you were at the bar or not, but what was your overall thoughts on the event? Think it was well put together?
Yeah, so I wish I was at the bar. I was driving that day. I've got a long drive back to Ayrshire, so I couldn't quite indulge. And I thought it was really well put together. It was good to see the way the players took to the crowd. A lot of it being their first experiences of seeing the Clan crowd in person.
Yeah.
A lot of them took to it really well. Seeing the sort of interviews that were scattered throughout, and then at the end, the players spending time with the fans in the foyer. It's a good atmosphere around the club at the moment.
No, definitely very positive times around the Clan, and it's good to see them using the arena to their benefit and doing these things as well and getting a good attendance from it. There was also the Q&A not long before that was online, where Clan came out, did a bit of an interactive Q&A. Jerry, Gareth and Malcolm Cameron were on that, and they answered questions from Twitter and social media. I thought it was, again, really good to open up that communication with the fan base. Again, lots of positives happening around the arena, and a very honest interview around the energy prices rising, which maybe people are aware of, from personally, but from a business point of view, it maybe puts some of the projects back on it. I don't know if you watched that, Craig, or did you have any sort of thoughts or any takeaways from that?
Yeah, I watched the Q&A personally, and I thought it was good, the fact that they were being upfront and honest about the fact that they are looking at doing like the Jumbotron, but it's on the back burner, and rightly so. I mean, as much as we'd love to have the Jumbotron, we've got to put the team first, and that's the priority for me, so I'd rather invest the money in the team and making the facilities better before we went and got the extravagancies like the Jumbotron in place.
Yeah, I agree. What's yourself, Lewis? Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it. It's good to see. I don't know. I feel like recently, even possibly since the club started, there's always felt like a barrier between the fans and the higher level of the club. So it's good to see that level of transparency with the Q&A being held. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I thought it was good and more of the same. Obviously, I know you couldn't pick that one up, Jen, so that's why I'm not asking you that. Yeah. Let's take a look at the Glasgow Clan September fixtures. So there's 10 fixtures in all during September. We've got 2 pre-season games. We've got 4 Challenge Cup games, and we've got 4 league games. So we kick off on Friday the 2nd September away to the Five Flyers. Then on Saturday the 3rd of September, we've got a home game against the Dundee Stars in pre-season, our first return game at the Braehead Arena. We then follow that up on Friday the 9th of September with our first Challenge Cup game, which is at home at Braehead to the Five Flyers. Then on the Sunday 11th of September, away in the Challenge Cup to the Dundee Stars at the Dundee Ice Arena. Saturday the 17th of September, we get the Dundee Stars back at the Braehead Arena for the Challenge Cup. Sunday the 18th of September, our first league game of the season is away at the Guildford Flames at the Spectrum. Thursday the 22nd of September, we welcome the Sheffield Steelers to the Braehead Arena, which I think will be the first season ticket game. Saturday the 24th of September, away at Ice Arena Wales to the Cardiff Devils. And we follow that up with a double-header weekend on the Sunday the 25th of September, away to the Manchester Storm at Altrincham Ice Dome. And we finish off for September by playing the Belfast Giants in the Challenge Cup on Friday the 30th of September at the Braehead Arena. So thoughts, Jen, on that fixture list for September? What are you looking forward to? What's your thoughts on that?
Of course, it's the first home Fife game. It's always the best one of the season, and I always feel with the Fife games, the energy that come from both sets of fans. I think both sets of fans look forward to it, and the fact it's also our first proper home game. I know that we've obviously got them pre-season away tomorrow, but I always like that first home game. Yeah, the one that I'm not looking forward to is the Guildford away on a Sunday at 6 o'clock. That's an early start when you've been playing the night before. I don't fancy that. That's 10 hours in a bus on a Sunday. Nobody wants to do that.
Well, I'm going to that one, but I'm flying down and I'm
All right.
driving to drive to it. But I'm having a couple of overnight stay in luxury really rather than going on a bus. So
Yeah.
Again, with it being the first league game, I want to try and make an effort to get there. But it's not the most. But Guildford doing webcasts, Craig, what is happening? What kind of sorcery is this? They're starting doing webcasts for this season. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm actually quite glad that they're going to be doing a webcast because I'm going to miss half the games this month because I'm going to be going off on holiday. So I'll be catching as much webcast as I possibly can where I can't get to the game. So
You're away to
definitely
America, aren't you?
that. What's that?
You're away to the States, aren't you?
Yep, way to Florida again.
So we don't feel sorry for you. Lewis, what's your thoughts? Fixtures there for September. What are you looking forward to?
I'm just thinking there about the thought process for Craig there. Where would I rather be, Florida or Kirkcaldy on a Friday night? You know, that's been a hard one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, a lot of strong sides to start off, and Dundee. So it's good to see Glasgow and Fife sort of with two strong sides on paper. I think Fife are going to surprise a few people this season. It's going to be a battle, so it's good to see that we play them a couple of times to start off the season.
Yeah, I mean pre-season. Going to actually we kick off. This is getting recorded on the Thursday night. Tomorrow night we play our first game of the season, pre-season away in Kirkcaldy against the Fife Flyers. I want to take a wee brief look at the Fife rosters and get your guys' thoughts on that. So returning with Shane Owen and Andrew Little goaltending. There's 7 D-men there. Reece Cochran, we're aware of. Reece Harsh, Jonas Emmerdale, Braden Sherbinen, Christian Hiesinger, Simon Thernholm, Finn Page, and forwards, Jan Likkonen, Chris Lawrence, Zach Phillips, Jan Kivalati, Sean Cameron, Lucas Sandstrom, Barry McKenzie, Dylan Lawrence, Mikael Johansson, James Spence and Scott Jameson. A lot of Swedes in there. I think they're getting sponsored by IKEA this season, the Fife Flyers. But first look at that Fife roster. Craig, any players jumping out at you?
Not really. Like Jan Lackinen, he's kind of jumping out for me. But to be fair, I'm just glad they've got Shane Owen back because I absolutely love taunting him from the fans. It's so funny.
No, he's tweeting "Let's go" earlier on today, so I think he's looking forward to the game tomorrow. Yeah. What about yourself, Lewis? Quite a lot of changes in that Fife Flyers roster for this season. A lot of probably unknown guys, a few uni guys. It's always tough to work out on paper, you know, how rosters will perform. Andy there that concerns you or worries you?
I mean, I can, like you said, I can only really comment on players that I've seen. So when Jari Lackinen, he's 64 years old and he's still banging in the goals. So he's always going to be a danger present on the ice. They look to have a really strong defence on paper as well, which is going to help Shane Owen out a lot. I mean, he's one of the best goalies in the league, and that's always been the downfall, is that he's had no one in front of him. So on paper, he's got that now. They've recruited early, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Yeah,
I mean, Jen, what's your thoughts on that Fife Flyers roster?
Yeah, well, obviously Lackinen, well done for picking him up. He's not that old. He's like same age as me. I don't think that's that old. And like that's the thing is these Nordic players, they grow up and they wear skates as soon as they're able to walk, sort of thing. So that was a good pickup with them. Obviously, losing Isaacs to retiring, that's a huge blow for their defence because let's face it, he's always one of these players that you wanted to play for yourself, and he's not playing for anybody. Obviously, they still have Chris Lawrence. I can't remember, was he injured last year? He only played 15 games last year. But he's just one of these guys that you know is going to be the one who's going to try and stir things up and irritate people and try and draw the penalties. But you also have to remember he's all mouth and no trousers. He'll he'll wind people up, but he'll never actually drop the gloves. So he played 16 games and had 72 penalty minutes last season. So he's just doing what he always does. He's never been a point scorer. He's always been on to agitate. And they've kept Emmerdale as well. He's always a good defenseman. Although when you actually look at their plus and minuses from last year, they're all pretty poor. But we all saw how far down the league and how bad they finished last season. So I'd take that with a pinch of salt. And they've also signed Dylan Lawrence, who I thought had a decent season at Dundee last year. So hopping from one side of the river to the other and see how he gets on.
Yeah, I think they look okay. I mean, as we know, it's difficult to really comment on teams till you've seen them play. And there's always a few surprise packages in there that you're not aware of. But I think they've signed a few experienced guys, a couple of guys from Coventry that have been sad to see them leave. Yeah, I know Lackinen gave us a few issues, the Clan as well. So I think they look half decent. My concern probably, as if I was a Fife fan, would be the Brit Corps probably doesn't look as strong. They've lost Craig Peacock, who was one of their main guys. But who knows how these other guys come in. Finn Page has obviously came more from the Canadian programme, so he might do relatively well. But I would say they should improve from last season, which is probably not hard. But I think if you're a Fife fan, you're probably more excited about the roster there than last season's, to be honest with you. So yeah, we face them on Friday night. Any predictions, Craig, for that game? You're going through to it, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going through on this portal bus. I fancy Clan to win it, but I reckon it's going to be a close one. I don't think anyone's going to go all out. I think it's going to be kind of playing the cards close to the chest a little bit.
Lewis, prediction?
It's always a close game whenever we play Fife, especially in that arena. Like even when last season and other seasons where they've been struggling massively, it's always been 1 or 2 goals in it. So I think it'll be the same tomorrow, especially with it being our first game back. I don't think they've played pre-season yet.
No, they've not.
I think this will be their first game back as well. Also, I know Dundee have. So yeah, I think it'll be a very close game. It'll be good to see as the players get an idea of what the derby's like.
Yeah, I think they've only had 2 days on the ice, Gen 5, so a bit rusty, but Clan have not had much more than that. So I know you're going through to the game as well. What's your thoughts on tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want a win, but let's face it, they're one player that's super comfortable on that ice is their goaltender. He knows the ice, he knows what's coming in, so I don't doubt for a second that he'll play a blinder. But what I always find about Fife games, like we take the lead and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, you've let 2 goals in quick succession because the heads go down. And that's what you always have to remember. They will always fight back in their own barn, especially when their fans are behind them. You can never take that for granted. But it's always a good game, sitting behind the fishing net.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a momentum game, isn't it? In Fife, as you say, you can look quite comfortable, then you can lose a goal and the crowd's loud, and you maybe lose another 1-2 goals. We've seen it over the years. So that's a big asset to Fife, is their support. But I'm looking forward to a good game. It doesn't really mean a lot, although can we say that with a Fife Clan game? But being pre-season, it's about really getting to see our players and seeing who we think is going to stand out for us this season. But I think it'll be a good test. I think it will be a close game, to be honest. I'm going to take Clan just to edge it on the night, but who knows? And then move over onto Saturday night, and Clan return to the Braehead Arena, where we face off against the Dundee Stars in our second pre-season game. What's your thoughts, Jen? I'm going to have a wee look here at the Dundee roster for this season. So Anton Svensson and Brayfon Priest are the 2 goaltenders. Devin Daniels, Dryden Dow, Chris Ingles, Colin Joe, Eric Naslund, and Ryan Barrera as the D-Corps. And forwards for the Dundee Stars this season are Elijah Bareja, Ben Brown, Carter Folk, Craig Garrigan, Chris Gerry, Mac Howlett, Jonathan McBean, Hugo Reinhardt, Fabricio Risi, Thomas Rukas, Philip Sange, Roman Semjonovic, and Ben Soke. So, Jen, any players there that you think are good signs for Dundee this season?
Well, obviously, we have a new era of Dundee. Pasha is away. Sorry, fire engine. I'll wait for that to go by.
That's all right.
Oh, you can never have a recording without the fire engines going by, is there?
Right.
Obviously, we're at a new era with Dundee. We've got Jeff Mason as his first year as a head coach. Obviously, he's been very successful as a player and an assistant coach back in the day at Belfast. So I think we're going to see a completely different style from Dundee. They've kept a couple of their good core players. Obviously, they've kept Dow and they've kept Sanche. He's just one of these players. The first time I saw him, I was like, check the speed of that guy, and he will just leave people behind. He's just so quick. They've lost a couple of good players. Obviously, they've lost Coombs, who was just an absolute goal machine for them last year. I think Coombs has gone to Denmark, and obviously they actually lost Craig Moore to Panthers. So they have lost a couple of core guys. They're Brit guys, couple of young unknowns, and they've got Matt Cowlett as well, who had a pretty reasonable season in Guildford last year. So I think we will see a completely different Dundee team from what we're used to seeing. I'm kind of nervous facing them more than I'm nervous facing Fife.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk of Dundee fans. I know that their team is very fast this season, even faster than normal, a lot younger as well, but speed there. Lewis, any thoughts on Dundee? I know how much you love the Dundee Stars. Any thoughts on their roster for this season?
I'll be honest, I'm the opposite. I'm not worried at all about playing Dundee. I think the only player possibly that gets in the Clan side is Philippe Songe. I think he's just a fantastic player. I don't mind admitting that. Braden Priest as well. I don't know how much game time he'll get this season. It'll be interesting because he is starting quality in the league. He proved that last season. No, I'm fairly comfortable that we should be putting up a result against Dundee. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so you're going for a win on Saturday night? A home win?
Comfortable win.
Yeah, comfortable home win. Craig, your thoughts on the Dundee roster for this season? I know we've not really seen these guys on the ice, and if we talked about, probably, as Jen said, Charlie Combs, beginning of last season, we would have said, who is he? But then he became a star in the league. So what's your thoughts on that roster?
Nah, that's the thing, like, with a lot of players that are coming in, they're unheard of, and they just go on and play an absolute blinder. I mean, as you mentioned, Combs for Dundee, started for us last season, so you can't really ever tell, like, who is going to be a kind of standout player. I mean, one player I was surprised to see on the lineup. I never actually knew the Dundee lineup until you sent that on to me before, but I was really surprised to see Matt Cowlett on the lineup for them. I was surprised by that, because I actually thought he was getting on quite well down Guildford. I thought he'd end up staying down there. If he was coming back up this way, then I wouldn't have expected to see him going to Dundee. Yeah,
a good player, very fast as well, so probably works into their systems very well. So prediction for Saturday night?
Oh, it's a win. It's a win for Clan, 100% in my opinion, because not only have Clan got, in my opinion, a better lineup on paper, but we've got all the Purple Army behind them as well, and the home crowd always plays in the favour of the home team, and regardless of which team is playing, the fans play a part in it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I know it's early doors. Predictions in League and Challenge Cup for this season. Again, it's early. We don't know the teams, but if I had to force you in terms of who you think is going to be the top teams in the league this season, Lewis, who do you think is going to be up there challenging at the top of the league?
See, if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I'd have been more confident in Cardiff being up there. The pre-season, they were shaky. I don't know if it's just because it's pre-season. I don't know if I'm looking too much into it. But I think, judging by how they've played, obviously we've not set foot in the ice yet. Judging by how they've played so far and their team on paper, we should definitely be finishing higher than Cardiff this season. It's hard to see past Belfast. Running away with the title again. Sheffield have been interesting. So I think top four, you're looking at Belfast, Clan, Sheffield, Nottingham in some order. I think the two teams that miss out on playoffs this season will be Dundee and Manchester.
Okay. Same question to you, Jen. Who do you think are going to be the front runners? We know it's early and it's difficult to say.
I'm the same. I mean, I would love to say that we might be up there. It has almost happened before. We all remember that season. But you have to remember, as Belfast have lost Beskorowany, so he's simply the number one goaltender I've seen in the league for a very, very, very long time. And because he's no longer there, it just kind of gives you a little bit more confidence that you'll be able to score goals, because let's face it, he was a brick wall most of the time, and that's why they were able to run away with the league. I've not had a much look at Peyton Jones, and obviously Whistle is always good, and Dixon's rest. Having the 3 goaltenders, I think, really helps, and obviously we've gone that way as well, having a little bit, and I think there's a couple of other teams they're kind of be a bit more flexible with their goaltenders, but I'm the same, don't see anybody other than Belfast from what's on paper at the start.
Yeah, and who do you think, Jen, is going to be struggling at the other end, potentially of the table? We've not seen the teams, but based upon what the rosters look like,
I'm going to say Fife just to call them out and say they're going to be rubbish the whole season again. So
fair enough, Craig.
Well, top of the league, I can't really say anything against Belfast. I watched the highlights of the pre-season game against Cardiff, and they just played so well together. You wouldn't have thought it was their first pre-season game. You know, they were clicking and gelling quite well. Obviously not seen our own team play, but I do fancy on paper for us to be in the top 4. And I definitely reckon there's no reason as to why we should not be making the playoff final weekend. If we don't make the final weekend, then that to me has been a failure of a season. For me, I reckon the bottom of the league, I think it's going to be Manchester. But I think it's going to be close between Manchester and Dundee this season. I don't know why, but I think Fife will just clinch in the top 8.
Okay, interesting. We've all got some different views on that. I think Belfast are my favourites for the league. I think Cardiff have recruited well, but they've gone back to some of their old players who have done well previously in the league. Will they deliver again? I think Fife will have a better season. I think they'll still be down near the bottom. I think Stars might struggle a bit this season, just my opinion. Difficult to have 2 seasons like they've had in a row. And I think generally the expectations will be higher in the fan base. So I think they may struggle a wee bit, but where they end up, I wouldn't like to predict that. But I hope we would be challenging up to the top 4, 4th, 5th place, and certainly improving on top 6. And as I say, as you said, playoff weekend is really a must this season. I know it's difficult over these 2 games, but we need to start really delivering on that. I think we have a lot of the same conversation all the time as Clan fans, but we turn up at the playoff weekend. It'd be good if the team actually turned up next year as well. A couple of questions I'd like to discuss as well here. Jen, I'll put this one to you. Peter Kerr said no games in Premier Sports for the Clan. Well, some clubs are 3 or 4 games in the first 10 announced. Is this Neil Black, or is this solely a Premier Sports decision? And a similar question from Yellow Daisy, who says, why are there no Clan games in the first batch of Premier Sports games? So Jen, you tell us, why is there no Clan games?
No Clan games yet.
Okay.
Is the way to look at it. Is obviously they have to look at what their availability is, how many midweek games, who they're playing midweek, and don't take it personally. There will be clan games. It's just not in this first lot.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not too hung up on Premier Sports. I think everybody will get their time on it. And I mean, we don't know if it's the Arena, if it's Neil Black or whatever. I don't think there's anything suspicious there, though. I think it's just the scheduling, the way it's been. To be honest, any thoughts on that, Lewis, at Premier Sports? Do you have a big issue with there being no Clan games?
No, not really. I mean, I try and get to as many away games as I can anyway, and I'm at every home game, so it's not really an issue for me. It's not as if it generates more money for the club as being on TV.
Yeah,
well, maybe it does in terms of exposure, but apart from that, no. I do think maybe Neil Black's had a say in it. We were obviously... It took us a global pandemic just to get a webcast going. So maybe it's something to do with that, getting more fans in the door. But I'm not too worried. I think there'll be some Clan games in the second match for those that want to see us on TV.
Yeah, I agree. What about yourself, Craig? I mean, there's webcasts now for every team in the league with Guildford coming on board. So is that a big deal to you in terms of Premier Sports?
Not really, in all honesty. I mean, I don't know about any other fans, but I really, really dislike the power break that Premier Sports puts in. They always put it in at such an inopportune time. It's always when there's momentum on one side, on team side, and it just kills the buzz of the game for me. But I'm also looking at the first batch of games, and I'm not looking at it as there's no Clan games there. There's two Challenge Cup quarter-final games there, and one of them's got to be Clan. You heard it here first.
Love the positivity. Question here for you, Lewis. It's again from V. Diepond, and he says, we need new songs. Where are all the creative geniuses or drunk people with daft ideas? See, I'm giving you this question, Lewis. Super Trooper names need finalised. So what's your view on songs? Are we going to get some new songs this season?
We are, and I've already got a few that have been approved. Yeah, I mean, I've ran through a few that people are like, oh no, that's terrible, get rid of that, as usual. But we've got some ones that are sounding really good. The arena's going to be bouncing this season now.
No, superb. Good to hear that.
Another wee added bit I'll add on to that, we even get a song for Big Red this year.
You got a song for Big Red this season?
We do indeed, aye.
You're going to give us the blast off, or do we need to wait for it?
No, it's still been worked on, but we're nearly there, aye. Give me Big Red after midnight.
Look forward to it. Yeah, so we've talked about the roster, we've talked about the pre-season games. We're all excited for them coming up. Any more thoughts on the season, Jen? Are you excited to be back at the arena? What are you looking forward to most?
Excited to be back at the arena. Obviously excited to see Clangus again, because let's face it, we've all missed Clangus over the summer. We all like our hugs from the cows. So, you know, just good to see everybody back. It's been a quick summer. I don't know about you guys. It's been a super quick summer. Can't quite believe we're around at season starting. But yeah, let's just get back into it.
Right. What about yourself, Craig? What are you looking forward to?
Just looking forward to the buzz of the arena again. Like, I'm getting to see people I've not seen in a while, and I'm complete opposite of Jen. No, the summer's dragged in for me.
And finally, Lewis, glad to be back at the arena.
Buzzing to be back. Know that I'm wishing the season away, but I'm looking forward to the open top bus parade when we win training. It's good to be back. I'm looking forward to the away days again, being on the bus and travelling about the place, supporting the team.
The away days with the West Year class, and it's great to be on the brink of a new season again. I'm sure as Clan fan, there's a lot of things to look forward to this season. So thanks again, Jen, for joining me tonight. Craig, Lewis, appreciate your time. Everybody that's watched the show, we appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. And from us, come on the Clan. See you later, guys.